No, bon.
So good evening, everyone, and welcome to this regular public meeting of the Dieppe City Council this February 26th. Without further ado, we are going to go forward our opening word. Dear colleagues, may we have the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can change, and the wisdom to know the difference. So, call to order. We have confirmation of quorum. And we're going to ask, are there any conflicts of interest? None? So we proceed with the adoption of the agenda. Moved by Councillor Cormier, seconded by Councillor Leblanc, to adopt the agenda as presented. Are there any questions? No questions. So all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Adoption of the agenda carried. Item 7, presentation, inquiries, and petitions. 7.1, inquiries by council members to Kodiak Regional RCMP. Are there any questions? Mr. Thibodeau. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was told that in Lakeburn, at the Purelator building, the trucks that every night come back between 11 and 11:15, use their J brakes. They're not supposed to. And he was asked to stop. He does not stop. So we'd like the RCMP maybe to be around the area in order to correct the situation. Also, the gentleman who called me say that you were allowed to park in his entrance, in his driveway. Do you have a description of the truck? It's a white truck that is lit up like a Christmas tree. Apparently you can't miss it. And it's the same thing every night. Does he do deliveries for Purelator? Yes. So it is noted. Are there any other questions from members of council? If not, if you'd like to say something. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. If I may, I'd like to talk to you about an initiative that I distributed. It's a yellow card. Basically what it is, it's an initiative from the Kodiak RCMP that's set up. We've launched it. There was a student from the University of Moncton who did some research on valuable objects that are left in the cars in the region. So in association with other partners, we've created this card, and over the last weekend, our members went in the region around Gaspé, Gould, Courtauld, and had roadblocks to distribute these cards. They also went to the arena. There was a hockey tournament. So the members were in the parking lots, and they handed out these cards. Just to tell you why I brought these tonight, is to distribute them. So you put this in the under the windshield, and we hope that it will discourage people from breaking into your car to see if there's anything valuable in the car. Those who see this, we hope that they're going to change their minds and maybe go elsewhere. So I just wanted to share this with you. Thank you. Are there any questions following the gentleman's intervention? No? So as always, you're welcome to stay, but we do understand if you leave. Thank you. So, item number 8, questions by members of the public. No questions.
Thank you, Yvonne. Certainly don't need to be bilingual to understand sarcasm. My questions are for the RCMP actually this evening, and not council. So, currently have an open file with the RCMP and requested information pertaining to the file, just simply trying to obtain my file number and a few minor details. What would be the reasonable amount of time for someone to respond to my request? Yes, sir.
First of all, I would like to probably know what the file is about, if you want to discuss it publicly.
Actually, I'm not, council's not permitted me to discuss
So,
the file.
Well, you can discuss it with the RCMP, but not here in public, because as you know what our position is. We've been very clear.
I do, yes.
And
Yeah.
but if you want to have a conversation, private conversation with the inspector, that's entirely up to you.
Okay, so then I have a few more generic questions without getting into too many details. If fire and police officials have a warrant to enter a property and a property owner obstructs the entrance, creates resistance, and physically strikes an officer, what would be the consequences of that behavior?
person is, if the member by law has a warrant to enter the premises, which has been signed by a judge, and there's a person who caused obstruction, could be arrested.
Okay, all right.
Obstruction.
So is striking an officer a chargeable offense?
Could be.
It could be?
Would have to be there. I'm not there,
Okay.
but you're asking me a generic question.
Okay, all right. Is obstructing a warranted inspection an offense?
What do you mean by that?
Well, if you had a warrant to come onto my property and I obstructed the RCMP and the fire from coming onto my property and doing that job, is that something that, is that a chargeable offense?
If the RCMP are in function, sir, and you're obstructing them to do their duties, you can be arrested. And if you strike an officer, you could be charged for assault.
Okay, so if during that situation that the citizen was actually handcuffed on the property while the police and fire did their inspection, but once the inspection was completed, he was released. It's.
I'm not following you, I'm sorry.
If you're confused, I'm certainly really confused about it.
Well, you're asking me in several questions in one question, and I mean, now you go from being handcuffed and striking a police officer.
Yeah.
That's why I wouldn't mind to go talk to you and.
Okay, perhaps after
openly,
council we can. Yeah.
Because now you're asking me question and.
I'm just, again, I have an open file with the RCMP regarding a situation that's taken place that I'm involved in.
Okay.
I've requested information back in December. In fact, I just obtained some information this Sunday. So that's my whole purpose of questioning, like, what's the reasonable amount of time that I should expect to wait in order to
Okay,
obtain?
Mr. McMurray, do you have something for council? Because if you want to have a discussion with the inspector, we'll let you guys go wherever you want to discuss that, and we'll continue with the council meeting.
Once again, Yvonne, I'm just trying to get some information
Yeah,
regarding
well,
my
you can-
situation.
You're here with the right person to answer your questions, and any questions for council?
No, because you're not permitted to answer, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anybody else? If not, we're going to continue with the adoption of the minutes of the regular council meeting of the 12th of February. Motion by Councillor Brideau, seconded by Councillor Alain on the question. No questions. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Contrary minded, no. Carried. Item 10, motions, memorandums, and nominations. Administration. Monsieur Mélenchon, please. I have to remember your name. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Welcome to everybody. So as the first to file today, we have two directives that were adopted at closed meetings. Now we can make them public. The first one was to give penetration to enter on the lands of the municipality. We lands will be going for preliminary work on the interchange and on Industrial Street. And the second one is the agreement that we've had with the province for the expert tape preparation that had been started, and now we have an envelope that we have agreed on for the acquisition of lands of $270,000 for compensation. So it's for the construction of the on and off ramps. So for the reading of the resolution, Madame Arsenault. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Council ratify the directives adopted at closed meetings of Council concerning the following topics. 1, authorization to enter upon the lands, off-ramp construction, Highway 15 Industrial Street. And 2, expropriation, interchange, Highway 15 Industrial Street. So moved, Mr. Mayor. Moved by Madame Arsenault, seconded by Councillor Brideau. On the question, all those in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Carried as presented. Next, 10.2, culture, leisure, community life. So the installation of a rubber surface on a playground on the park at Moulin Street. This is a contract that is moved from Playtech and for $179,708.38 plus HST. So this is for a no, it's a $62,000, $260. The Council award the contract for the installation of a rubber surface on the Moulin Park playground to Playtech Enterprises, Inc. at the cost of $62,260.01 plus HST, and authorize that this expense be defrayed from account number 1-2-70-80-3005, General Operating Budget, Public Lands. So moved. Moved by Councillor Godet, seconded by Councillor Thibodeau on the question. Question, Monsieur Alain. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, to the city clerk, we've just received one. So for purchases, there are 2 other items, and it's just one. Are we too restrictive in our requests? Is it the needs of the municipality are so specialized that there's just one tender? Monsieur Bugeaud? Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council. It's a local company that does a lot of work in the region, and no, the tender was fairly general. The company is the only one that put in a tender. Well, maybe you're questioning the price. We'd had a preliminary estimate from a consultant that was considerably higher than this amount that had been suggested. That's the reality. I have no other explanation. So, no, it was fairly general. Other companies could have submitted their tender. The RFPs were followed. Thank you. Any other question? Mr. Godet? No? So, all those in favor of the resolution, signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. So 10.2.1 has been carried. 10.2.2. Here, this is signaturing authority for the regional food pledge for Southeast New Brunswick. We'd had a presentation, and it's to basically respect the promise, and also the meetings will be following this guide and all the initiatives at the reception. So this is basically to get guidelines. So thank you. For the reasoning of the resolution, Monsieur Alain, the Council authorized the signature of the Southeast New-Brunswick Regional Food Pledge. So moved. Moved by Councillor Alain, seconded by Councillor Cormier. On the question? No questions? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Carried. 10.3, Finance. Once again here, the initiative of the improvement of Lee Six Signa, 5 of 6 years, $44,164. A recommendation to proceed with the signature in order to continue the initiative of the municipality for continuous improvement. Thank you for the reading of the resolution, Mr. Thibodeau. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That council authorized the hiring of consulting firm Direxis Inc. at the cost of $44,164 plus HST to pursue the implementation of its continuous improvement program based on the Lean Six Sigma approach, and further authorize expenditure be defrayed from account number 1-2-20-19-2590, general operating budget, admin, other. So moved, Mr. Mayor. Moved by Councillor Thibodeau, seconded by Councillor Thibodeau. On the question? No question. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Carried as presented. Next resolution. Fire. Mr. Melançon. This, once again, here is a request for proposal from the province. The province, we recommend to purchase of breathing apparatuses, Scott Safety, for an amount of $355,000 plus HST. The information that we've received is that approximately 12 businesses that have this type of products were checked on the province's site. Unfortunately, just one submitted a tender, so it meets the objectives of our objective in principle, so we recommend the purchase of this breathing apparatus for the fire services. For the reading of the resolution, Monsieur Cormier. Sorry. Go ahead. Thank you. The council award the tender for the purchase of breathing apparatuses, Scott Safety X3 Pro SCBA model, for the fire department to Micmac Fire and Safety Source Limited, pursuant to its proposal dated February 8, 2018, at the cost of $355,000 plus HST, and authorize this expenditure be defrayed from account number 3-3-20-12-7900, General Capital Budget Equipment Purchase. So moved. Moved by Councillor Cormier, seconded by Councillor Arsenault on the question. Monsieur Godet. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First question, curiosity. How many apparatuses are there? And secondly, the used apparatuses, what happens to those? Are they just bad, or can we just maintain them? Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So there are 25 apparatuses that are going to be operational and 4 that'll be spares. The apparatuses that we have right now are sold to a company in Western Canada. They could probably purchase everything that we have right now. And what do they do with that? It's training, and norms and standards are not as important in the mines in the West, so they can use older models, 15 years old. That's their choice. Thank you. No other question? All those in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Carried unanimously. Next item, purchase of a radio system. Here again, it's for an RFP, request for a proposal, a radio system, P25, through Bell Mobility Incorporated, for the cost of $265,995 plus HST within the budgets of 2018. There was an amount of approximately $300,000. Unfortunately, once again, there's just one tender, but it meets the standards of points established by the selection committee. Thank you for the reading of the resolution. Monsieur Thibodeau. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The council award the tender for the purchase of a P25 radio system for the fire department to Bell Mobility, Inc., pursuant to its proposal dated February 8, 2018, at the cost of $265,995 plus HST, and authorize its expenditure be defrayed from account number 3-3-20-12-7900, General Capital Budget Equipment Purchase. So moved, Mr. Mayor. Moved by Councillor Thibodeau, seconded by Councillor Leblanc. On the question. No question. All those in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Carried as presented. Bylaw, Municipal Bylaw A4, 2018, procedural bylaw of the Municipal Council of City of Dieppe for the reading in its entirety. Monsieur Leblanc. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Bylaw number A-4, 2018, procedural bylaw of the Municipal Council of the City of Dieppe. 1. Definitions. 2. Application. 3. Meetings of council. 4. Agendas of regular public meetings. 5. Meeting chairs. 6. Decisions and deliberations of council. 7. Code of ethics and conduct. 8. Conflicts of interest. 9. Other procedures. 10. Repeal. 11. Interpretation. So moved in its reading in its entirety. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Leblanc, seconded by Councillor Arsenault. All those in favor. Questions, Monsieur Godet? Yes. Is it possible to, for the public, that we could explain the content? We were going to do that afterwards. Any other question? No? Okay. So all those in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. So the bylaw A-4 2018 is carried. We accept the reading in its entirety. Sorry. Mr. Simard, concerning these changes. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. These changes happened because of the implementation of the application on the local governance. This is a new law in New-Brunswick. From the 1st of January, there could be distance participation, remote participation by members of council. There are certain rules that apply that we included in the bylaw. So, for example, equipment for the municipals in order to be able to participate at the meeting, but remotely. The member has to be outside of the municipality's territory. He can't just be in his own living room and choose to participate like this. It has to be remotely elsewhere. Another condition that we've established, I would say that maybe we are a little more stricter than the Act. The notion of quorum will be determined by the presence of 5 people physically in Municipal Hall, which means that there could be 4 councillors who could participate remotely. There's also a limited amount of number that councillors can participate remotely. So we're talking about not more than 5 regular meetings and not more than 4 special meetings at which they can participate remotely. Obviously, it doesn't prevent you from being absent. As you know, you can be absent for 3 consecutive meetings. This is not considered as remote participation. This is an absence. So what we have set up for remote participation is to take the 4 first who have put in a request for remote participation, and we have to notify the clerk 2 days prior. So they would have, for example, for this meeting, it was Thursday would be the last day. That means that the Act forces us to notify publicly this. Also, it will give us the possibility okay, it's a question also of image. So we'll be able to visually see you on the screens through the systems. We're talking about the telephone system also. We'll be using a system that permits to hear the voice. That would be a plan B, and we have a plan C if there's internet problems, or we'll have a landline that will be specifically for communication. The closed meetings will be possible also for remote participation. We'll have to make sure that the person is alone. That will be part of the agenda. At closed meetings, no one but the members of council are allowed. Concerning the forum, the Act said that people remotely participating were counted, but here we're talking about a quorum of 5 people who will physically be present at the meeting. That will guarantee that the meeting will continue even if we have technological problems, because we will have the quorum present. So that will facilitate the meetings. It will be representative. So those are the main elements of the changes in this bylaw. Thank you. So I would encourage you to reread this bylaw following the comments, and then at the third reading, there might be room for more questions. So we continue. No. Oh, here we go. No, we are at the third reading tonight. Oh, so things are really quick. Monsieur Leblanc. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Third reading by title only. Bylaw A-4 2018, procedural bylaw of the Municipal Council of the City of Dieppe. So moved in third reading by title. Moved by Councillor Leblanc, seconded by Councillor Godet. On the question. Following the comments. No question? So all those in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Resolution, the bylaw is carried in third and last reading by title only. And I think that we are maybe the first municipality to react to the new orders of the Act on governance concerning remote participation. Notices of motion, inquiries and announcement by members of council. I think I start on my right. Monsieur Godet, I have nothing tonight. Thank you. Thank you, Monsieur Leblanc. I don't have anything new either. Thank you. I don't even have time to start my stopwatch. Councillor Cormier. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Congratulations to the Matadors for winning their game yesterday, and I'd like to thank and congratulate the residents who use the ice rink. It's very appreciated. Thank you, Mr. Cormier. Monsieur Brideau. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I have nothing for tonight either. Thank you. Councillor Thibodeau. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to say that this morning I went to the press conference on L'amour du New-Brunswick, where we are announcing an initiative to promote the purchase of food or anything that is produced in New Brunswick. Professor Marcel Desjardins made a presentation, study, and he determined that even if we increase just by 5% purchases in New Brunswick, it will represent more than $2 billion in GDP. So I'm asking everybody to support this initiative. Is that it? Thank you. Madame Arsenault. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have 3 little items. I just wanted to mention that the 25th of January, I went to the BDC Magma Entrepreneurship graduation. It was on Main Street in Moncton. It was very interesting. It showed that immigrants here in Canada are entrepreneurs and they want to go into business, and it's very nice to welcome them and to help them as much as possible. The 17th of February was the Greater Moncton Chinese New Year's gala at the casino. So a couple of members of council were there. It was a very nice evening. Dances, songs, very nice celebration. And then 22nd of February, I went to the International Airport Romeo Leblanc of Greater Moncton, here strategically placed here in Dieppe. Yes, I had to add that also. The plan for 2030 was set up. It was just show how the airport developed very well, and that we succeed here in Dieppe. We do very well. The opening of the airport when it was in 2008. The plan started in 2008, and they're reviewing this plan, and they're reviewing for 2038. I found that really nice. Monsieur Brideau was with us, and we really appreciated that presentation. Thank you very much. Thank you. In 2002, we'll remember that Queen Elizabeth II was in the neighborhood, and then I had the privilege of making the opening, doing the opening with that grand lady. Monsieur Alain, thank you, Mr. Mayor. A message and a question. But first, there are 3 winners who are going to be recognized at the arts by the Rotary Club in Moncton, of Greater Moncton, will be recognized Laurie Bell and David Hawkins for their work specifically on boys and girls clubs of Greater Moncton and Head Start. Also, the Rotary Club from Dieppe will recognize Madame André Savoie, who worked with crosswords for women, beautiful work. And the Resurgo Rotary Club will be recognizing France Côté Alain. So these are people on Rue Maurice, Rue du Golfe, and Rue Bourg. All these are people who do volunteer work for the community. So I just want to congratulate them, and I want to congratulate the Rotary Club, the 3 from the area, for their recognizing these people who are doing some volunteer work. It's very appreciate to see other groups recognizing people like that. That's what I want to say. The second thing is I want to congratulate the Memram Cook Minor Hockey Association. There was a 31st Minor Hockey Bantam and Midget tournament, Midget 2A, Midget C, Bantam 2A, 2A, Bantam C, and the 2 winning teams from Bantam C, Midget C were coming from Dieppe Memram Cook. So congratulations to everybody. So there was a lot of people at the Arthur G. Leblanc Center, and there was no parking. I know it doesn't happen often, but still. And here I saw one of our firemen that was counting. And Monsieur Landry, does that happen often, that parkings are full? For me, it's one of the first times, but I think that there was serious lack of parking spots. People were parking everywhere. So is there a plan? It's my first time as a councillor that it happened to me, and I can basically talk about it because I was there. So are there any solutions? If your staff maybe could give us some advice, I'm ready to hear it. Monsieur Landry. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, it's something that is fairly seldom. We monitor it just as long as people don't park where they're not supposed to, in fire lanes or things like that. That's the safety side aspect, which is important. Maybe it's once or twice a year people are parking on the grass, but it's okay. But if they park in front of an emergency exit, that's it. So we monitor the situation, and we didn't find anything that was really serious that would preoccupy us. But we're looking into it on a regular basis. Yeah, because maybe it's something that we eventually should address, because I think it happens more than twice a year, if I remember properly. I mean, if there's a fairly important tournament that, I mean, even if it's worse when it's the two rinks that are taking, sometimes it was speed, one weekend it was speed skating on the Olympic short track, and then there was a hockey tournament, lower levels, novice, I think it was, but the parking was full, and it creates challenges. It's a good idea to check up on it, but it's always a challenge. We know that we'd purchased the land on the other side of the arena. That might be something to be considered in the future. I know there are the people who go park in the Rotary Park at the school. These are good challenges, basically. We like to see all these people come to visit us and contribute to our local economy, but we have to make sure that things are considered. Yeah, maybe the message should be given on the arena that there are alternatives. I know that the surface of the land on the other side is not functional. Maybe this year we're lucky that we have less snow, so it's not as covered. But maybe we should send some messages to the organizer of the tournaments, and also maybe put signs up that there are other possibilities of parking. That's all. Have a good evening to all. We're ending the month of the history of Black people in Canada. There are lots of activities. I know that a lot of people participated in those. And this week it's a fairly important week on immigration and integration of immigrants. So there are conferences all week at the community college, for example. So I invite you Thursday morning, specifically, there'll be an excellent panelist there. So good evening to all.